It's April 20th on Lake Murray. Yeah, we're going back to Lake Murray. We've got Scott Martin this time for the 2023 Marathon Bassmaster Elite Series tournament. And he's fishing the points. I'm going to show you what kind of points he's fishing, specifically where this point is and what he found on it. A previous commenter asked that I get a bigger pointer so you can see it as I'm pointing things out on these contour lines. So here we are, bigger pointer. Now, this is where Scott Martin is fishing, right up here on this shallow point. And you see it shallows out here again a little bit farther off. So stay shallow all the way out to the creek channel, but he's specifically targeting up here in this 6-foot range. Now, Lake Murray right now is 67-degree water temp. Most of the elite guys were targeting spawning fish, at least as part of their game. But if you watch my Gagliardi video, which I'll link right here, I talked about the herring spawn on Lake Murray and in the south in general. Most of the herring spawn is going to take place in May, but it's late April. So what Scott is doing, and some other anglers as well, is trying to capitalize on the schooling fish on these shallow points where these herring are going to spawn early on in their spawn period. Sometimes in late April they'll start early. Scott is finding schools of bass, both stripers and largemouth up here, feeding on these herring and schooling up and busting on the surface. Okay, to the video. In this clip, Scott puts this small one in the box and then catches a almost 5-pounder off of this shallow point. And a key thing to notice in this video is when he's talking about what bait he's using or why he's using that bait. You'll see him throw a shaky head out and catch this big fish. But up to this point, he's been fishing a small swim bait. And he's been sweeping that small swim bait across the point over and over and catching fish until the bite just dies. That bite dies, and this is why these guys do what they do. They're so good at it. He adjusts, he finds a different bait. The fish are no longer reacting and chasing and coming up and hitting baits above them. So he switches to the shaky head to be more finesse down there on the bottom where the fish are tight to, and continues to get bites, and bites of this caliber. Check it out.
15. That's the littlest one in the school. But it's about 2 pounds more than I had a minute ago. Finding something that they'll bite when they won't come up and crush is a big deal, and they're very picky. So it's not like they just bite anything. Oh, there's a 4. Look at that 5. There's another bite. That's big. Maybe. Oh God. I can't turn him. He was coming at me the whole time. Dude, I cannot turn this dude. He's mad, bro. Probably gonna have to come back there. Oh, that's a big one, dude. That's like a 5. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. That's what's in that school, bro. It fell out, bro. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Bro.
One of the tools we have at our disposal for evaluating spots that we think we found on a topo map, for example, is Google Earth Pro. And I'm sure you've seen videos on this, on how to work it. You can go back in time to different satellite imagery and see different water levels and what's underneath the surface. So I won't spend a lot of time on that. I'm just going to say it has to be Google Earth Pro that you download, not Google Earth through a web browser. You just can't do it through that. Anyways, here's the point that Scott is fishing. This is an image from 2010. We're going to go back to 2004. Here's that same point with a lower water level. And something to point out, we've already seen that it's a shallow point on a topo map, right? We've already seen this. But what we're interested in here and why we want to see real imagery is, we'll start down here at the bottom if you can see my cursor. Red, we see red, more red, and up here, especially at the top of the screen, a lot more red. This is essentially all, at least out on these points, is all red clay hard bottom. And especially after almost 20 years of this being underwater again, most of that silt washed away and it's just hard red clay bottom. Back to what we were talking about, the herring spawn, this is the ideal point, or an ideal point for those herring to spawn. That's why the fish are here. That's why Scott is fishing this point. Tools like this whole complete method of searching for spots, deciding where you're going to fish, and all the reasons together of why you're going to fish there is just a far more effective way to narrow down spots, maximize your time on the water. I don't have all the time to fish day after day to find spots in my boat. I have to use all these methods to find spots, evaluate spots that I think I found on a topo map, and you should be doing the same thing so that when you get out there, you're targeting high percentage areas and looking for these schooling fish, especially this time of year, that are just a blast to catch, and it can be just an incredible day of fishing if you find the right ones. It's like beating a dead horse. I'm going to say it every single video. It's not about the spot. It's about explaining why they're finding these spots and what you should be looking for in your own spots. So, that being said, if you have a spot you want me to talk about, or kind of explain why somebody's fishing it or why I think somebody's fishing it, then drop it in the comments. I read them all. I reply to them all. I appreciate them, the interaction. And it's just nice to know when people are learning from these videos, because that's why I make them. So stay tuned, and I'll see you at the next spot.
So goodbye for us. You have to say it, baby. And us in Texas, you wanna try.